Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to be bringing you this new video today. I have been asked several times to talk about how I meal plan for my giant family of 7. And so I'm going to try to show you briefly what we do. It is nothing fancy. I don't meal plan for a month. I don't have a special calendar, none of those things. I meal plan week to week, and I'm going to explain to you why in just a minute. So the first thing I do when I meal plan is I look at our calendar and what our schedule looks like for that week. As a school counselor, my husband is a teacher, and our kids are all in activities. Our daughter is a competitive dancer. She dances about 23 hours a week. And then our 4 boys do Taekwondo 4 days a week. And we also have Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts. So our schedules are very, very busy. Right now, of course, during quarantine, not so much, but normally they're very, very busy. And because of that, I cannot meal plan for long periods of time because I don't know what the schedule is going to look like day by day, week to week. Things are typically pretty similar, but there's also other events that come into play that I don't know always until the week of. And so I plan week to week. Usually what I do is I meal plan Friday night to have our groceries picked up Saturday morning, and then I meal prep on Sunday. That preps us for the week. I do order my groceries online. I've been doing it for about 2 years, and I just do that because it saves me a ton of time. Grocery shopping is so tedious. Some people find it very relaxing. My friend Anne, I know she's watching, she loves to grocery shop. It's her time away, but I do not enjoy grocery shopping, not for a second. I find the process of putting the food into the cart and then unloading the food and then reloading the food and then unloading the food again to put it all away just seems like such a process. So ever since I've been able to do click list or picking up my groceries, that has been tremendously easier. Not only that, but my cart is already started on the computer, which I'm going to show you here in just a minute. And so it makes it really easy for me to just put the things that I've already ordered back into my cart, and things that I order every single week are there. I can see the things that are on sale. There are digital coupons that I can use, and I can also go back and look at previous orders. So if there's something that I remember we had a dinner a couple weeks ago, but I can't remember what it was, I can go back and look at my previous orders and just add those things to my cart. It also has an app that I can use, so I can add groceries to my list throughout the week. So as I notice that we're out of ketchup or mayonnaise or dishwashing soap, I can just add it onto my list from my phone at any time, which is really, really great. If I'm at work and I think, man, next week I really want to have this for lunch, or I want to have this snack, I can just add it in. It's really, really convenient. To plan out my week, I use a planner. Now, I am a decorative planner. I do use a recollections planner, and I think I've mentioned that here before. I'm not sure. I do have a planning channel. If you're interested, I'll have it linked down below. I've had that channel for 3 years now, I believe. I started in 2017, so this is the year 3 for me. And when I do my plans in my planner, I don't put what we're having for food. Only because I don't look at this at dinner time. I'm not looking at this when it's time to meal prep. I usually look at this the night before, and my checklist consists of what I need to get prepped for the next day. So that's if I need to get uniforms ready, lunches, whatever that looks like for the next day. So I don't put my meals in here. And then I also have a large calendar, which we keep on the wall, and this is for everybody to see like what we have going on in the week. Clearly, as you can see, it's empty. Not just because of quarantine, but because it's also summer break, so everything's on hold. But we normally put things there, and that's another thing we can use to see when we're meal planning. I do, however, use my laptop to put in the meals on the Google Calendar because that's an app that I have on my phone, and that's also a website that I use on my computer. I can access it from any computer, and then I just kind of jot in what we're, like a loose menu plan for the week. If we have crazy busy schedules one night or a really early night, say we have to be somewhere by 5 or 6, I'll try to do a crock pot meal or something that I can prep the night before, or sooner than the night before. I don't do a lot of crock pot meals, I'm not gonna lie. We're not the biggest fans of the texture of crock pot meals all the time, but some of them are good. I like them for soups and things like that. Now I'm going to show you where I come up with the recipes for our meal planning. Like I said, I don't meal plan for a long period of time, and that makes it pretty easy to keep things different every week. We have some staples that we love in this house, like tacos, we eat a lot of food from outside of our culture. So we like Korean food, Chinese food, Mexican food, Ecuadorian food. We like Filipino food. We like all kinds of food. And there are meals that we make on a regular basis that are staples in our home. And then there's a lot of things that take a little bit more time, but we love something like a chicken piccata, where it takes several steps to get the chicken ready. That's a meal we don't have all the time, but it is definitely a favorite in our house. So what I've done over the years of preparing meals for my family is create a recipe binder. And this is just a big, huge binder that I found at Target several years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago now. And inside of it, it has some dividers so that I can keep track of the different recipes that I have. So it has breakfast, lunch, dinner, it has dessert, and then I think it also has snacks. And as I find recipes that I like, whether it's recipes that I've printed off of Pinterest or a blog, or that my mom has emailed to me, I put them in sheet protectors so that when I'm cooking, they don't get they don't get injured, right? The paper doesn't get destroyed. And then it's easy for me to find. So when I sit down to make our plan for the week, I will pull out this binder, as you can see right on top, easy Korean ground beef bowl. We love Korean food. And I'll just pull this out and look through for recipes. So chipotle cilantro lime rice, this is garlic chicken piccata, this is melt in your mouth chicken breast. We've got all kinds of penne alla vezzi. Some things are sticky from cooking. That's our teriyaki chicken. So there's, as you can see, things get a little bit sticky sometimes, but we will put our recipes in here, and this makes it easy for me to flip through. I keep the ones that we like the most up towards the front of the section, and ones that we have but don't use very often are towards the back. I have ones in here from magazines that I have pulled, and it just makes it really, really easy. One of the best tips I can give you, if you are using Pinterest to keep your recipes, I highly recommend that you print them if you can. If you can have them printed and readily accessible, kind of like your own little cookbook, it makes it so much easier when you're meal planning instead of having to open up the Pinterest app and go through and find things for you. That is obviously something you can do too. Since we've been home a lot more, that's something I've been doing. We've been experimenting with recipes we haven't tried before, but on a really busy week, when I have a short window of time to meal plan, I don't want to be looking through Pinterest. I want to just have my favorites ready to go. So having a binder full of those things is really, really, really easy. As you can see, it's kind of bent. I keep it up in this cabinet over here next to the stove. I have it up where like my baking items are. I have a few other cookbooks up there, but this is really what I use. I'll pull that one out if I need to find a recipe for something that my family has made or for a special occasion, but this is the mother lode when it comes to our recipes for meal planning. The other thing is, if you don't have a printer, which I didn't always have a printer, you can use index cards. So that's what I have here in this nifty little, very fancy card holder, index card holder, and I have recipes in here that have been given to me. So these are recipes from Danny's family. One is a recipe for a vodka sauce that Danny's cousin makes that I am obsessed with. Susan, if you're watching, you know I love it. There's ones that I've peeled off of The back of, this is from Whipped Topping, and on the back it had a frozen peanut butter pie that I kept. There's one in here that you can see by how beat up it is. It's very well loved. This is for our pumpkin bread that everybody loves. But this is for recipes that I have found in magazines that I've cut out. And before I had a printer, I would write down the recipes on these cards. And that way, again, I wasn't searching for the recipe. This on the back of, looks like a butter, was a s'more cookie bar. So there's all kinds of things in here. There's a bechamel sauce, things that are like, that you use all the time that I just wanted to know. Sloppy joes, like how to make them from scratch. Flourless cake, stuffed potatoes, blueberry almond cookies. Those are one of my favorite recipes. I'll try to link that down below. Oh my gosh, those cookies are the best. I think I got this recipe from Giada. But that's something you can do if you don't have a printer, is write down the recipes, put them in here, and then you can keep it. So this is something that I cherish. I'll use both of these. This one I don't use as much. I really turn to this one when I'm looking for a specific recipe, like the pumpkin bread or like the vodka sauce. But other than that, I typically use the binder because it's easier to flip through and it has the things we use on a regular basis, because I've had the printer now for probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So I've been printing our recipes to put them in here. So that is how I meal plan, how I find our recipes, how I figure out what our schedule looks like for the week. Now we're gonna go to the computer so I can show you how I put them in Google Calendar, and then how I order my groceries online. So let's move to the computer. Okay, so to get started with meal planning, I go ahead and open up Google, and I use Google Calendar. I mentioned that already. I thoroughly enjoy Google Calendar. It is great because it links to mine and my husband's, also to my kiddos who have phones. So anything I put here on this calendar shows up in theirs as well. So what I do is I just go in on each day and put in what we're going to have for dinner. Now, when we're home, I will plan out breakfast and lunch and whatnot, but because we're leaving in a week, I'm just going to go ahead and put in what we're having for dinners. And I look at my calendar and my planner to figure out what it is that we're going to eat each day. And I try to plan appropriately things that are easy to cook, things that are harder to cook, things that are going to need to take a lot more time. And then of course the crock pot meals I try to put on days where we're really, really busy. That's how I meal plan and make sure that we are using our time wisely. Next, I'm going to go ahead and open up the website that I use to order our groceries, and I order our groceries through Smith's. That is a Kroger store, so you may have a different store that you do grocery pickup, but I know Walmart does it. I know all kinds of grocery stores now do it that didn't do it before, so that's really helpful. My favorite aspect, as I mentioned already, about ordering your groceries online is this section right here that says Start My Cart. This is all items that I've purchased before, and it's things that I purchase regularly, and so I can just click Add to Cart, things that I would buy every week, like granola bars, eggs, bread, those Baby Bell cheeses, those types of things. Now, I'm not purchasing those now because we're leaving, but these are all things that I would buy on a weekly basis. The collard greens for our lizard, breakfast cereal, coffee creamer, all of that good stuff. So it's all right here and it just pops up for me. The other thing too is if you see on top of the items, it'll say buy 3 or more or 2 or more, and it'll show me that if I purchase more, I get a discount. So I try to pay attention to that as well. And I just go through and make sure that I put in all the things that I need from this section first, and I'll go until I go to the end, and then I will start putting in individual things that I need for recipes, things that I may not normally buy but that I regularly need. Also things that I don't purchase all the time, like mayonnaise or shampoo and conditioner or spices, things that you have to replace, like, you know, every 3 to 4 weeks, not things that I buy regularly. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm coming close to the end of the items that I purchase regularly. I was also trying to think about things that I was going to need while I was gone, like this cat food. I have some, but I purchased another because my house sitter is going to need to feed the kitties, and I'd prefer to just have it so she doesn't have to go out and buy it, right? And then I was trying to think about things that we would be able to finish before we leave. So for example, if I bought that big box of chips, we wouldn't be able to finish that before we left, so I didn't purchase that. But this is just really, really easy. So we are doing pizza night, so I'm adding in the pizzas that I love. That one's my favorite. It has goat cheese on it. It is so dang good. We're doing crock pot tacos, so I'll make Mexican corn, so I added that in there. So that's how I just pay attention to the things that I have bought in the past, and I just put them in the cart. Super duper easy. And it's almost like you're walking through the aisles, you know, but you don't have to create a list, which is really great. So now I'm going to go up to the top and start searching for the items that I don't regularly purchase. And I do this by going through a list that I have written down either in my planner, on the side of the fridge, written down in my phone, things that Danny's telling me as I'm meal planning that we need. And then I also go through each one of my recipes and think about things that we don't have. So for example, right here, you're going to see me search for flank steak. I was having a hard time typing apparently. But when I was searching for flank steak, I realized, wait a second, we actually have steak in the freezer, so I didn't purchase that. And then I went on to the next item, which was our turkey balls, I believe. Oh no, I was getting the broccoli. I'm sorry, the broccoli for the Korean beef. So I got that in there. And we already had rice, so I didn't need to purchase that, which is nice. I decided that the crowns were the same price as the stems, so I was able to get the crowns, which I prefer, but they're usually more expensive. And then I'm also searching here for ground turkey because we're doing turkey meatballs one day. So I'm grabbing the ground turkey. We'll also need stuffing for this meal, so I'm grabbing that as well. And then once I have my cart full, which I will here in just a second, then I will go ahead and go to the cart and I'll pick the time and day that I want to pick up my groceries, and I'll finish the purchase. I didn't do that on camera just because I was too afraid that any personal information would show, so I didn't do that here, but that's how I would finish it. And then I usually do it the night before, and I pick it up first thing in the morning so that I don't run a high risk of not having things in stock. That is a tip. Order your groceries to be picked up first thing in the morning. Okay, my friends, and that is it. That is how I meal plan. That is how I order my groceries. It's that simple. I know this one was kind of weak because we're leaving soon, so I didn't order a whole lot of groceries. Typically, our bill, if you're curious, runs about $200 to $250 a week. We try to keep it, you know, somewhere in that range. That's about what we budget for. When school is in, we try to keep it a little bit lower than that because my husband and I both work at Title I schools, so our kids get free breakfast and lunch because we work at those schools. So that is all I have for you in today's video. If you enjoy it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're curious in knowing some of our favorite recipes and want to see a video about that, let me know. I'd be happy to share. Don't mind the sound of Charlie having a snack in the background. She decided to eat as I'm finishing this video, but that is all I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.